Are you a beginner at piano, but you're starting to feel a little overwhelmed by what you're learning in your lessons, to the point where you're starting to think to yourself, this is complicated and difficult, and I'm not sure that I have the time or the talent to ever really get any good at it? You know, if you're thinking those things, you're not the first person who's ever thought it. And I want to help blow that paradigm into smithereens for you by introducing two things. One, I want to give you something really fun you can do, even at your early beginner status as a player, okay? Something where you'll be able to play a beloved song and feel like you're making some progress, because that's important. And the second thing that I want to do is I want to introduce an entirely different way of approaching the piano to you that might be a better way for you to go in the future than what you might be learning in your current lessons. Because the problem is the method most people are being taught when they first start piano, as wonderful as it is in so many ways, weeds most people completely out of the process, because learning to be good at reading notes on a staff is a long, complicated, difficult process that most people will never achieve any level of real competence with. And then they leave the piano thinking, I guess I just don't have what it takes. And then they miss out on all of the joys of making music. And it's unfortunate, because there are other ways to approach the piano that don't require that long, arduous, complicated process to make a lot of progress fast. And people are cheating themselves out of the joy that they should be getting. So that's what we're going to do in this video. And I'm going to change the screen up just a little bit, and let's get cracking on it, okay? All right, if you don't know, I'm Piano Man Steve Lungrin, founder of the Piano Man Approach online piano course. If you enjoy videos like this, before we get started, I really appreciate it if you'd give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and leave comments. Even if it's just to tell me that I suck, that's okay. I can take it. I might delete your comment, but it still helps in the algorithm. But if you have questions or comments, please leave them and share the video with anybody that you think might enjoy it. Okay, let's get into this. So I'm going to work from the assumption that you've learned a few basic things. Okay, you probably know the notes, the keys on the piano. You know this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, all that good stuff. You're at least aware that these are sharps and flats. Okay, so we're not going to go over that. However, one of the downsides of reading notes on the staff for most people is that until you get good at reading blocks of notes all chunked together, you're kind of reading them one at a time. And what you can do instead is actually learn to read just the name of a chord and then play the chord. Okay? So in other words, instead of looking at the staff at all, you can actually just have something written over the top of the lyrics like this. This is a C major chord, which just is a capital C like that, and know that it means to play C, E, G, because that's a C major chord, okay? Same would be true. You can do minor chords, augmented chords and diminished chords and things that are a little more advanced than what we're going to look at today. But the simple fact of the matter is that you can train yourself to know what the chords are and get your hand used to playing chunks of notes, and then you alleviate the need to do all of this surgical precision of reading a bunch of notes on the staff, which is the main thing that the main hump most people never get over the top of. Okay, so that is incredibly valuable. So what we're going to look at is I'm going to teach you 4 chords in this one. 4 common chords. We're going to look at a C major. We're going to look at an A minor. And we're going to look at an F major. And we're going to look at a G major. Okay? So what is in these chords? I'm not going to go into all the theory about what a chord is and the scale degrees and all of that kind of stuff. You can learn all about that in my course if you're interested at pianomanapproach.com and learn more about it at that link. But for now, I'm just going to give you the notes. Okay, so it's C, E, and G. Just like that. Middle C, E, G. And in the left hand, all we're going to do is either play octave Cs like this, or you can either choose to play that C with your thumb or just that C with your pinky. It really doesn't matter, okay? But we're just going to play a single note underneath. Like this, C, E, G. That's your C major chord. And then an A minor chord is A, C, E. Right there. Your F major chord is F, A, C, with F's down in the bass. And then your G major chord is G, B, D. Just like that. Now, spoiler alert, when you get more advanced at this, you can play those configurations of notes in any sort of voicing that you want. It can be here or here or here. You name it. Doesn't really matter. But for right now, I'm going to recommend, if you're a beginner, that you just focus on playing them in what we call root position, which is what I've showed you, where the root of the chord, it's a C major chord, so the root is a C, and that's where your thumb is, and you stack the other notes on top, like that. Root of the chord's A minor, stack the notes. Root of the chord is F, stack the notes. Root of the chord is G, stack the notes, okay? So we're just going to stick with root position for right now. Now, what we're going to do is first and foremost, we're just going to play the chord progression for Let It Be, because the whole song is just those 4 chords, which is amazing. It's amazing the incredible music that has been written with minimal numbers of chords. So the chord progression is what order are we playing the chords in, and in what duration are we playing the chords in for the song. And what we're going to do is we're just going to play quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the chord progression goes like this. 1, that's C, 2, G, 2, A minor, 2, F, 2, C, 2, G, 2, F, 2, C, 2. So every 2 counts, it shifts to another chord. C, G, A minor, F, C, G, F, C. Now the reason why this is very, very profound, okay? It's obviously cool because it's the foundation of playing Let It Be, which is a great song and people love it and all of that. But it's also, it is a tool that you can transfer to other songs. Many songs use C chords, G chords, A minor chords, and F chords. So the fact that you learned what they are and how to voice them in this song means, okay, great. Next time I see one in another song, I've got it. I can play that chord, right? So this is a snowball going down a hill. Every time you learn anything new about a chord, a rhythm pattern, or an improv technique, it's in the bank for the next time it would be applicable in any other song, which is why this method is so much faster to make progress with and so much more fun to learn with than the very, very slow, complicated, and arduous process of learning to read notes on the staff. So that's our first thing. The other thing is you're playing quarter notes, which is the beginnings of a rhythm pattern. Even if you're doing nothing else underneath with your left hand except just playing long sustained notes, it still kind of sounds like Let It Be. When I find myself in times of trouble, see, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Okay, so that's the first thing. And if I were you, that's the first thing I would practice. Just and that's all the farther that you need to go at first, because you want to get that kind of under your hands. The thing with piano is you always want to take one thing that you're working on and get it kind of comfortable. You want your hands to get used to that so that when you add something else to it, your brain can focus on what you're adding rather than what you're already supposed to be able to do, okay? Because that's when you run into problems. People try to add too much into the process, and their brain just can't focus on that many new things all at once. It needs some stuff that it's kind of on autopilot for. So get that on autopilot. Get your hands used to moving from this chord to this chord to this chord to this chord. Then, what can we do to make it even a little more interesting? And this is how we're going to round out our rhythm pattern. Our left hand, instead of just playing sustained notes, is going to go into what we call the syncopated feel, or the heartbeat feel. So, thump, 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 thump. If we were counting it, we're going to count it like this. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay? Can you hear thump, 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 thump? Okay? That's what's going on. Why do we do this? Because your left hand is replacing what goes on with the bass guitar and the drum kit. And usually one of the things in this particular case, there's 4 or 5 really, really key sort of basic rhythm patterns that cover almost all songs that have ever been written. And then there's a lot of ways to do variations on them for more advanced sounds. But the idea is this is a feel that's very, very common in popular music. And the kick drum will be going boom, 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 boom. And the bass guitar, whatever else it's doing, always kind of comes down and hits boom, 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 boom. And even if they get fancy, they'll be like boom, ba-doom, doo, boom, ba-doom, doom, boom, ba-doom, doom, boom, ba-doom, boom, boom. And they're always landing on that thump, bump, bump, just moving through the chord. So when your left hand does this, suddenly it adds a ton of pace and rhythmic integrity, and it makes the song really come alive. So here's what we were doing before, just the sustained notes. With the rhythm pattern, can you hear what a profound impact such a small, simple adjustment made? And that's what you're going to find in the piano. It is a game of inches. Tiny adjustments make the biggest effects on your sound. Just unbelievable what happens just by adding that little thump. So how do you master the timing? Because I know a lot of you are going, well, that's great, but like that, I don't know. I can't make my arms work like that. I'm going to show you. Now, you don't all have to have little drums here, little bongo drums, but this will help amplify the sound a little bit. You can do this on your lap. You can do it on a countertop or on a table. It doesn't matter. But before you try to do it on piano, what we're going to do is a little exercise here to get your arms working together. I call it the George Washington. Okay? So, George Washington. 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 So underneath here, George Sheen-ten. 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 That's how your left hand is coming down. George Sheen-ten. 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 George Washington. George Washington. 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 So that way you don't have to think about counting or anything like that. You're just your right hand, George Washington. 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 George Sheen-ten. 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 George Washington. 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 When you can do that comfortably and hold it for a while you do it on your lap, while you do it on a tabletop or a countertop, then you're ready to come to the piano. And what I recommend is that when you do come to the piano, rather than try to play the whole chord progression, just pick one chord. Pick a C chord, for example, and play it out. George Washington. 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 And as you get comfortable with that, bring the tempo up. George Washington. Washington. When you get it going really fast, then this is a rhythm pattern that you can use with, I mean, this particular rhythm pattern can be used for thousands of songs of all different tempos, but really fast, that's like hard driving rock and roll, okay? So, but you don't need to get it that fast for Let It Be. Just once you have that timing down and you feel comfortable, now try to play the rest of your chord progression. C, G, A minor, F, C, G, F, C. And suddenly you now have the entire backbone for one of the most beloved songs of all time. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Now, then when you follow the thing out, if you go and you find the chords, you'll find that the chorus goes A minor, G, F, C, C, G, F, C. Now, what's great about this is just the foundational way to play it. This is a fundamental way to play it. But when you get these fundamental tools working in your favor, the beautiful thing is you can learn a gazillion different ways to ornament things and vary things and fun little things you can do to make it more interesting. And again, they're all transferable. You don't learn them just for one song. You learn the tool and you carry the tool with you to every song that you play. So just really quick, one of my favorite ones is toggling a chord, meaning I play part of the chord with the top part of my hand and then toggle to the thumb and back. And notice, I don't have to toggle it the same way. It doesn't have to be like a robot. It can be toggle, toggle, dum, 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 toggle, 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 dum. Whatever you want. In the moment, you can make that decision because you're already on the chord, and this toggling maneuver is based on the chord that you are already on. So it's just a way to spice things up a little bit, right? And it is not, I'm just telling you, I'm not going to go into like how you would do all this, but it is not that far of a journey from this simple to playing something more along this line. Because every single thing that I did there, every single thing is rooted on and is standing on the shoulders of just this simple everything. And then just simple maneuvers that I've learned how to do. Sometimes I'm stacking 2 or 3 maneuvers on top of one another. But the thing is, I learned them, they're transferable, and now I'm just applying them on whatever chord I'm in. So this is a wonderful method of learning that can give you a chance to make a lot of progress very, very quickly, much, much faster than most people are ever going to learn to become competent at reading notes on the staff. Not telling you that you shouldn't learn to read notes on the staff. Some people prefer to only learn this. Some people like to learn this in tandem with learning the more traditional method. But the point is, a lot of teachers don't ever get around to showing you this because they weren't taught this. And maybe they teach you how to read chord symbols, but they don't know anything about what to do with them. And so most students get very little out of this with most teachers because it's just not very common that it's taught. And yet it's the most approachable, fastest, most fun way to learn piano that I've ever seen, and it also lets you focus a lot on songs that you know and that you love and that you're really familiar with. And if you are taking lessons, I'm sure you have already noticed that the stuff that they give you to work out of the piano books with is maybe not the most interesting music you've ever heard. So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you something so that you could, even at your early stages in your working on this, you can work through this and have kind of a credible version of Let It Be under your hands. But even more importantly, you will know fundamental, easy, basic ways to play 4 very common chords and a very, very versatile rhythm pattern and one of the easiest but most profound improv techniques there is. And if you want to learn more about this method, including how you can use it and put the melody with the right hand in if you don't want to sing or if you don't want to just be limited to an accompaniment version, then I would encourage you to head over to pianomanapproach.com, take a look at my material there, and learn about the course. And if you are interested and feeling kind of turned on by it, you can, of course, enroll in the course there. So Thank you very much for your time. I hope that you found something valuable in all of this. That really is my goal. I so appreciate the fact that you took the time to watch this video and spend a little bit of time with me. Check out the other free stuff on my YouTube channel, and if you like piano and vocal performances, I do lots and lots of covers, sometimes with friends, sometimes just by myself. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and remember, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. All right. Piano Man Steve, signing out.